Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the February 26th, 2025 regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees, 6:35 p.m. I would like to invite Father Samuel Asme from St. George Coptic Orthodox Church up for our invocation.
Heavenly Father, we thank for your blessings, we thank for your love. We come before you this evening with a grateful heart, asking for your wisdom and your guidance. Give us the unity of the Spirit. Guide all the leaders of the city that make all the decisions according to your holy and blessed way. We pray this in Jesus' name and the prayer of all your saints. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Here.
Trustee Henson?
Present.
Trustee Horn?
Here.
Trustee Rakes?
Present.
Trustee Wilson?
Present.
Trustee Udris?
Present.
Open to the public, agenda items only. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
And moving on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Bogues. I have a couple of items tonight. One, just wanted to remind everyone the statement of economic interest has been sent out by the Will County Clerk's office. I thank you for the confirmations I've received from those who have completed thus far. Please, if you have not done so, check your Barracuda blocked email because it's where it always goes. And please complete that before May 1st. I will make sure to continue to update everyone.
And I would just interrupt. I would say that if you think you've done it, double check, because I knew I had done it and it was not showing filed. I had to refile it. So just so you know, double check.
Thank you for that. Next, I also wanted to let everyone know in regards to early voting. Early voting will be located at the Governor State University as well as University Park Library. So for University Park Library, it will be March 17th through the 21st from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then on March 22nd, it will be that Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon. March 24th through 27th, that's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. March 28th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And March 29th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The location for Governor State will be March 17th through the 21st, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. March 22nd, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. March 23rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. March 24th through 28th, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. March 29th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And March 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I just wanted to make mention, I did reach out a couple weeks ago to the administrator because I was trying to find out in regards to the file cabinet with access to the folders for the candidate petitions. And the only reason why it was like something pressing is because we've had issues in the past where there was a whole case in regards to the file. So when I noticed that there was something different or tampered with, I did reach out immediately so that I can try and follow up to see what was going on and who had access. I have not gotten any information in regards to who has access, but just more so asked if anything was missing. So I have not checked to see if anything was missing. Once I saw that it was tampered with, I just left it alone. Also, in speaking with the state in regards to files, they stated for me to make sure that I have on record that to remind the team that it's a class for felony to destroy any files without notifying myself so that I can submit for destruction before doing so. And then I'm still waiting for the date to give for them to be able to come out and go with me through the records in the report.
Thank you. Moving on to my report. First of all, I just want to mention that yesterday the village hosted the first meeting of the Community Advisory Group for the I-57 Access Study. We had about 25 people in attendance representing IDOT, engineers, residents from Monee and the surrounding areas, business owners. Christy DeLaurentis from South Suburban Mayors and Managers was there. Rick Bryant, Chief of Staff for Congresswoman Robin Kelly, was there. The Peatone Administrator, as well as our own Administrator, our DPW Director, and myself. And it's just incredibly important that we are involved with this project as it affects Monee's future. So I just wanted to let you know that we definitely have a seat at the table with this study. So now moving on to something a little more fun. We've got our semi-annual crew award. So if you've been following along the last handful of years, you know that CREW is an acronym that defines an employee who provides exemplary work. CREW stands for credibility, respect, equality, fellowship, identity, and work commitment, personal performance. As a CREW employee, our people have shown in many ways that they go the extra mile to serve the village's internal and external customers, both in attitude and performance in the work that they do. So this round of CREW winners in administration, we've got Michelle Powell-Johnson. In Public Works, Justin Fleck, Dan Trofenchuk, and DJ Cruzel. And with the Police Department, we've got Officer Ryan Boren. So I am going to start with the administrative side and Michelle Powell-Johnson. During the village's property tax rebate program, Michelle was on the front lines when it came to direct communication with residents. Many times, Michelle had to inform residents that their applications were incomplete and needed more information before it would be accepted. Many residents did not appreciate this and would be very rude. Accepting these applications is very important to treat every application the same. Michelle did just that. During this time, Michelle also lost a part-time employee and had to handle much of the front office task herself. This includes the influx of water bills during the last days of the billing cycle, a rush during the property tax rebate program. Michelle never complained about it and kept performing her job. Michelle proved to be very dependable as she understood that the front office was short-staffed and the village depended on her to be at the village. Michelle has been able to keep her composure during times when others may have faltered. Being on the front lines of the village, Michelle hears most of the negative information that may come from the public. There is no doubt that over time this negative information could depress and eventually take a toll on an employee for the worst. Day after day, Michelle has an upbeat demeanor, even when you can tell when something is bothering her. Imagine coming to work the day of shutoffs knowing that someone is not going to be happy and will be calling you to voice their displeasure with the village. This is a reality for Michelle, and she continues to treat each resident with respect. Michelle displays fairness to every resident and makes sure that everyone is treated the same. During every Fall Fest, Michelle displays fellowship, volunteering in any way that she can. Michelle has been a part of the village as a resident as well as an employee. She is recognized by almost all residents. Michelle is usually the first person individuals see when they enter the village hall. Her demeanor sets the tone for the experience that individual will have, and Michelle understands that. I want to highlight Michelle's contribution during the village's property tax rebate program, her consistent positive attitude and willingness to assist. This demonstrates Michelle's willingness to be a team player. She is a valuable asset to our team. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Okay, so next I am going to hand it over to Trustee Horn for our Public Works recipients.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 individuals I'd like to highlight tonight. First one is Justin Fleck. He's come so far in the last few years. He's stepped up to his extra duties as a foreman. He has learned to work with engineers on ongoing projects and also staying on his tasks of all vehicle maintenance. He shows up on time every day, ready to take on any challenges from the previous plans. He has no problem coming in on weekends and staying late for any issues going on in Monee. He is always honest and straightforward with coworkers and managers, and as always, keeps a very calm demeanor. Justin has a high level of respect and rapport with his coworkers. He's always open to listening and resolving issues or personal issues with coworkers. I've never seen him turn away anyone in need. Justin may be the main vehicle technician and foreman, but has treated everyone equal. He is always training the other coworkers, and you can also find Justin always eager to learn what he does not know. He has put himself on everyone's level as a great team leader and as an equal employee. Justin, thank you. Justin makes people want to come to work every day and work with him. He is a very hard worker and very committed to making Monee a better place as we grow all around. I have never had a complaint against Justin. Our coworkers want to work with Justin and learn from him. He's an exceptional leader, and I'm very proud to have him on our team. And then Dan Trofimchuk. He's always been available in the event the department needed him. This past week I called him when I noticed our side door wasn't closing. The wind had caught it and temporarily broke the door, but Dan came in and fixed it right away. He has always been helpful when I needed some advice, or always comes in every so often to check in on Diana when she's having a rough day. I've never seen Dan not be helpful in any task he has been tasked with. He always gets it done and is very quick to respond when we do need something. He also gives our department praises when we do events or classes. Dan will always help you when you need him. He'll also tell you what you can improve on and teach you how to do it. I've never seen him not care about the tasks at hand when he is at work or at an event. He will step in, and I respect him for that. And then together, DJ Cruzel and Justin Fleck. Justin and DJ have been an invaluable asset to the IT function and the move to the new Village Hall. There have been many components to making this transition happen from a construction standpoint and being able to facilitate the technical functioning of this move. They have provided sound guidance and have taken the initiative to provide sound suggestions for me to implement for complete networking capability. Both Justin and DJ are always considerate and listen to others to ensure whatever has been asked of them, they are able to provide excellent results, which impacts the entire village and staff. Their ability to provide timely responses to job requests was instrumental in creating and establishing a timetable for the IT function to complete what was needed to set up the technology in our new facility. Both Justin and DJ have proven that they are 100% committed to quality service and in service to others. So would you please applaud now for DJ, Justin, and Dan Trofimchuk. I don't think they're here. Are any of them here?
No.
Okay, but we'll get these plaques to them. Thank you.
Thank you. And now moving on to Trustee Udris for your representative from the police department.
Can we hold off for just a second? He
Yes.
had to step out, so if
Oh,
we could
of
go to
course.
the next one.
Okay. There is none. He's the last. We'll do the music.
Get him, Dan.
Sure. We can come back to Ryan, that's fine. We can wait for Detective Bourne. Christy Holston is here with the Historical Society. Christy, if you would like to come up and take advantage of this time.
We'll fill the time. Good evening, everybody. Christy Holston with the Monee Historical Society. And as you can see, I am not alone. This is Billy Morgan, also with the Monee Historical Society. This is just a very brief update. Last fall, I came before the board to announce my retirement as president of the society. And at that time, we weren't 100% sure who the successor would be or how the structure of the organization would look going forward. We were not sure that we could be self-sustaining or if possibly the village might fold the group into a department. I can now state with complete confidence that the organization is in better shape than ever. and the future is looking very bright indeed. Billy Morgan is a product of the Crete Monee School District and was the salutatorian of his class in 2009. He graduated with honors and receiving a degree in history from the University of Chicago in 2013. He's worked for the state of Illinois in the governor's office and is currently working for the Harris School of Public Policy at the University of Chicago as an associate director of communications. Billy is a Monee Township trustee and has made connections across the state with his various civic activities. Billy joined the MHS in 2021 and was an immediate asset, putting all of his training in oral history interviewing from the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library in Springfield to use. He's a voracious reader of fiction and nonfiction, and so he was the perfect person to start our American History Book Club, which has been a great success. Billy's been the vice president of the Historical Society for the past 2 years. When I first met Billy, I knew right away that he was somebody who could do the job, and that has not happened very often. He was, with his passion for history and for learning, but most of all, his love of people and of our community, he can do what it takes to keep the organization on the path that it needs to stay on. He was, last fall, as you may know, Billy is not in a position to commit to taking over the presidency. He had his hands kind of full. He had a lot of other irons in the fire. And as it happens, luckily for us, his time freed up a little bit. And so at a certain point, he was able to commit the time and was able to commit to becoming the next president. So we were very grateful for that. Now that he's taken on the role of president, he will have time to devote the skills and the wide network of connections he's made towards developing a strategic plan to raise our organization to a level where we will become more self-reliant and self-sustaining in the future, which you all know has been our goal. We're still not quite there, but we are now well on the way. Billy has a wealth of information and a wealth of experience in that field. So this has been a challenging year for everybody in the village with the construction and things like that, but I think we're well on our way. And with his youth and new ideas and skills and shared vision, I think we have a very shared vision. He will be able to bring us into the next step that we need to take as an organization. And luckily for me, I'll still be able to be involved. We've expanded our board of directors, and I will still have a seat at the table on the board of directors. And so the Historical Society is in good hands. I'll let Billy talk for just a couple of minutes of what we've got planned for the next year coming up in 2025. Thank you.
I knew what she was going to say, but that doesn't make it any less embarrassing. So, you know, I was raised that it's rude to wear a hat indoors, but I'm going to wear my Historical Society hat. So I gave everybody a copy of what we've done for the past year. I think, you know, under Christie's leadership, we've really been a historical society that's much more active and engaged in the community and does a whole lot more than a lot of historical societies typically do. And I think we want to maintain that as much as possible, grow it. We've, as she mentioned, expanded the board of directors to include, you know, a little bit more diversity of perspectives and talents and skills and backgrounds. We have educators on there now, people who do more with finance, and we're trying to create a new budgeting structure to ensure that we're raising the money that we need to make sure that this is as sustainable as possible. You know, Christie has been such a one-man band for a long time, and there's no way to fill those shoes, so we have to divvy up those portions of the shoes and make it sustaining as we go forward. Barb Sim, you might know as the admin in the building, and she's now going to be the executive director. So she's going to have a larger role in budgeting and in trying to determine longer-term strategic goals. She's, she's there in the building. She's working with people in the village, and the partnership with the village has made this all possible. Just a couple of quick other updates. We are digitizing a lot of our assets right now, pictures of items that we have in our collections. They're available online. You can click on them right now at moneehistoricalsociety.org and start looking through some of the items we have. That's going to just continue to grow. We're also posting more of our oral histories so that, there's when an elder dies, a library burns down is kind of the idea. We don't want that to happen. We want those memories to be preserved in any way we can. And we have a classic book club, which is in partnership with the Peatone Public Library District. The Great Gatsby is the next book. And the American History Book Club, which Christy mentioned. The next book is Our Nazi, which I never thought was a word I would say in public like that. But just an interesting story of a person who was a SS member who was the head custodian at the Oak Park River Forest High School for 30 years, and then they find out what his backstory is and how does a local community deal with something like that. After that, we're going to be going back to going through the presidents. So we just got through Eisenhower, and we're moving forward through time. So anyway, I appreciate you taking the time, and if you have any questions, we're here. We're going to be here for a little bit. Thank you very much for your partnership throughout this whole time, making sure that this is all possible. Thank you.
Well, thank you and welcome aboard as president.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think we're
Back to our
good.
regularly programmed.
All
All
right.
right. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, for the last crew nominee for this year, and when you have a group like our police department, finding somebody who stands out amongst everybody for what they do is pretty hard because we've got such a great group in our police department. But this is for you, Ryan, because you well deserved. The police department recommends Detective Ryan Bourne for the semi-annual 2024 Crew Award. Detective Ryan Bourne was assigned to the Monee Police Investigations Division in September of '23. Since being assigned to the division, his work has not only been noticed by fellow officers and command staff, but outside agencies as well. No task is ever too much for Detective Bourne, and he always gets the job done. In 2023, despite working for 3 months in investigations, Detective Bourne led the patrol division in proactive police activity, traffic violations, and criminal follow-up. It was this mindset and determined initiative that propelled him into investigations. Since being assigned to the Investigations Division, Detective Bourne's work has resulted in several high-level felony criminal indictments. Detective Bourne is always willing to go above and beyond to assist other local, state, and federal jurisdictions when called upon. Detective Bourne also represents the Monee Police Department with great professionalism and integrity while working in conjunction with the Will County State's Attorney's Office. Ryan works with an all-gas, no-brakes mindset. He goes beyond the call of duty to assist victims in obtaining the proper resources and assistance that they may need. In a constantly evolving criminal environment that encompasses intricate fraud schemes, illegal activity and computer usage, social media, and cell phone technology, Ryan immerses himself in training and learns from others to stay on top of the latest trends and tendencies. Ryan is highly respected by his fellow peers within the Monee Police Department. No matter the number of years on the job, officers turn to him for advice, and he treats all the officers with the same dignity and respect. He always takes the extra step to help them, guide them, and get them the answers that they need. As Monee Police Department has grown and transformed over the last several years, it's the commitment and integrity instilled in our younger officers that will carry our professional reputation and mission into the community. Ryan Bourne is a prime example of what that future looks like, and we're proud to have him in Monee. So thank you.
So again, congratulations to all our crew winners. And moving on to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Where did our crowd go? I know how to chase them out. First item is the Fireman's Park Phase 1 Improvements Pay Request Number 9. The village has received the attached pay request number 9 from PSI for the above-mentioned construction project. Farnsworth Group and village staff have reviewed this invoice and found the work to be in substantial compliance with all OSLID grant requirements, engineering plans, and specifications. This payment request is for work completed during the pay period ending on January 31st of 2025. The amount certified for payment is $90,195.34. The board action request is a motion to approve pay request number 9 to PSI in the amount of $90,195.34
I'll
for
make
work
that-
completed during the pay period ending 1/31/25.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn? Yes. Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item is Public Works new construction, pay request number 9. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to take a look. Things are progressing quickly. The drywall is going up now as we speak, and it's beginning to take shape. The village has received pay request number 9 for PBS for the Public Works new construction project for the pay period ending on 2/12/25 in the amount of $726,958.76. The invoice is attached. All the invoices and supporting documentation for payment have been reviewed and certified by the Farnsworth Group and village staff and meet the plans and specifications according to the contract. Board action request is a motion to approve pay request number 9 to PBS for the pay period ending on 2/12/25 in the amount of $726,958.76.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Thank you, board. The next item is residential water rate adjustment. Over the past few years, the village has been made aware that Aqua Illinois has petitioned the ICC to increase their water and sanitary rates, which in turn would cause a financial strain on most of our residents. In November of 2024, Aqua Illinois was awarded a rate increase of 44% and quickly implemented the increased rate to their users in late December of 2024. In anticipation of this rate increase, the mayor and administration worked on a water rate reduction plan for several months that would help bring some financial relief to our residents, but also balance the need to cover the infrastructure upkeep and maintenance costs. The administration is happy to announce its first step in bringing some financial relief to the users that use the least amount of water. Previously, the village had a minimum usage bill of 4,000 gallons costing $143.13 bi-monthly. This minimum bill included a maintenance fee for sewer, refuse, sewer fixed cost plus usage, a fixed amount for water, plus usage per 1,000 gallons. The village board has been presented with a proposal that would lower water bills for those using less than 4,000 gallons. This plan is to be the first step in decreasing water billings to the residents and would eliminate the bi-monthly fixed cost for the first 4,000 gallons used and instead allow the true usage amount to apply. For example, a household using 1,000 gallons would see their bill decrease from the minimum the current minimum of $143.13 to $127.65. This represents direct cost savings for lower volume users. Additionally, staff would recommend an additional 10% water rate discount for seniors 65 years old and older to help those seniors with fixed incomes or to help offset those seniors that would be significantly impacted by the aqua rate increase. Before I ask for any motions, I'm going to ask Finance Director Daryl Bulliner to come forward. They say the seed of learning is repetition, so we're going to have Daryl slice this up a little bit further for the public, just to explain a little bit more in detail this plan.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's having a
Good evening.
nice evening. I want to pull up a PowerPoint presentation here and just go over some of the things that Ruben just read. The PowerPoint kind of shows a little chart and gives a little information about how we came about where we are and what the process was. Let's see here. Okay, so our first goal in establishing the new rate was to really give the residents that use 4,000 gallons or less the benefit of lower water bills and being able to pay for the amount of water bills that they actually use. Currently, everyone is getting the same water bill at 4,000 gallons, whether you use 1,000 gallons, 2,000 gallons, 3,000 gallons, and so on. So the first goal was to try and let those individuals pay per 1,000 gallons and not have that minimum bill, but pay for what they actually use. We also were challenged with trying to keep the revenue for the village at a consistent level by not substantially going under the revenue amounts that we currently receive. We got close to that. We established a point in which we're not losing much there, but we're hoping that our next level of going back and looking at the water bills, that we'll be able to get back to the level that we currently are. At this point, we're looking at maybe a $2,000 to $3,000 loss per billing cycle, which is about $12,000 moving forward over the year. But again, when we move to the second tier of doing the water bills, we will be making that amount up. We knew that coming into this that there was going to be a sewer increase, so we were trying to figure out a way to kind of soften that blow that residents would feel with an increase in the sewer side of things. The best way that we could do that is by working with our water billing and seeing how we could do that. Currently, at 4,000 gallons, a resident pays $143.13. That is made up of capital and maintenance of $16.84 bi-monthly, refuse of $41.82 bi-monthly, sewer $64.97 bi-monthly plus $7.40 charge per 1,000 gallons after 4,000 gallons. Water is $19.49 bi-monthly plus the $4.02 charge per 1,000 gallons after 4,000. Each additional 1,000 gallons of combined water and sewer does add $11.42 to a bill. What we were proposing was to, from 1,000 gallons to the 4,000 gallons of usage, is to basically get rid of that $19.49, that standard water fee. So at this, with the new proposal, the amount would be 1,000 gallons would be at $127.65, 2,000 gallons at $131.67, 3,000 gallons at $135.68, and 4,000 gallons at $139.70. At 5,000 gallons, residents would continue to be on the same path of billing that they currently are. So, even though the savings at this point at 4,000 gallons and less isn't as big as we'd hope it to be, at 1,000 gallons, a resident would save $15.48. I know that isn't a substantial savings, but again, we were trying to maintain a level of revenue to pretty much not put us insolvent so much. So we were trying to really help the community as well as maintaining the same revenue that we had. So what we did was we looked at some prior billing cycles to find out just where we were with the adjustments that we made to the water bills. And what we found was, over an average water cycle, we were at the current rates. If this proposal goes through, we would be losing about $3,000 per billing cycle, which again, we intend to create a next step, a next level for our high-end users, which will make up that difference. But we felt the need to really get something done, considering that our sewer rates have hit the village. We are taking a hit with our sewer rates, and eventually we're going to have to balance that out and pass that on to our residents. And this adjustment is softening that blow. So again, in summary, what we want to do is get rid of the 1949 standard fee for the 4,000 and lower gallons of water usage. We want to build the $4.02 per 1,000 gallons, beginning at 1,000 gallons instead of beginning at the 4,000 gallons. We want to create a line item adjustment, also allowing for a senior discount of 10%. We feel that with the addition of the lower usage rates and a 10% senior discount, that would help our seniors tremendously. And I think in these times, our seniors probably need the assistance from the village. Living on a fixed rate, it can be difficult. So a 44% increase in anything is definitely going to make an impact. And if we can help, I think this would be something great for the seniors. We will continue to look into different ways to adjust for those users that are over the 4,000 gallon usage as well. Again, we have some heavy users within the village that we feel probably should contribute a little bit more to the maintenance of our sewers and our waters, considering the amount of usage. So we will be looking into evening the playing field with those individuals as well. With that being said, I'll take any questions that anyone has.
So I guess my first question is, and Ruben, you might be going into this, to get the seniors registered for this, is this going to be something like we did for the tax rebates then? You know, they would come in with identification, and then it'll probably be on you guys to have to program these new rates in, yeah?
That is correct. We've reached out to our software company that does the water billing for us. And what we would be able to do is put a line item in similar to the line items that you see on your water bill, sewer, refuse. Well, we can put a 10% senior discount in there that will automatically calculate that amount. The way we would implement it was, like you said, similar to the property rebate, where we'd have a form, an ID would have to be on file, acknowledging that this individual is at that senior level, and then we'd put that line item into the water billing.
And this would include the renters as well, whomever is paying the water bill, not if they're a landowner or a renter, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and will you need an additional line item for the under 4,000 then?
We would, yeah, the way the formula would work was 10% would be on our water bill, so it would just be on the water billing portion of the bill, and there would be that additional line that would calculate that. Mm-hmm.
Daryl, I'm aware of how the water bills work here. How does that work for renters, be it that the landowner has to have the water bill in their name?
So we're still early in figuring out that phase, but my first thought would be if there is a senior that's paying a water bill, if they're paying that water bill, I do believe that they're entitled to a senior discount.
I agree. And 10% over a year, that's 1 1/5 bill for a year. It's like having a month for free. I just didn't know if that was going to pose a problem, be it it's landowner versus renter, which is kind of built off of what Heidi said.
I think at this point, if we were intending to make a difference in between a landowner versus a renter and things of that nature, you know, that we'd have to build that into some ordinance that we're going to implement.
But it's doable.
It's doable, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome.
Yes, Daryl. How far out would you say that we're looking for attacking the high-end users and making the proper adjustments so then that we're no longer at a deficit?
We would like to get to that as soon as possible. But, as soon as we can. We've been working on that portion for a while, and we decided that this was a good, if we couldn't do it all at once, at least let's do what we can and what we know will work. Moving forward, we've got an idea. We just want to make sure that it works. We've got a plan. I think it will work. We just got to work out some kinks.
Okay, thank you. Also, one last question. I know post-COVID or during COVID, we identified some challenged persons or individuals with that water bill and working out payment plans. How are we looking as far as the accounting side of things, accounts receivable or delinquent accounts?
Mm-hmm. So the way our bills are structured and the way we operate with turnoffs, we have a very low rate of individuals being on the turnoff list. That has gone down substantially since we've done the payment plans. That was probably one of the best things to come out of COVID, was that we had the ability to then put individuals on a payment plan. I believe it helps a lot. And our intent isn't to turn individuals off. We do want to work with our residents in any way that we can. So we do everything that we can to try and help them out.
Absolutely, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one more question about the water.
Mm-hmm.
Be it that we have the abundant uses of the water at those facilities, how does that work with the waste side of it and it being not attached to the overall use of the water?
So
Do you get what I'm saying? How they have that special side because of toxins, etc.?
are you referring to the fact that some heavy users of water do not necessarily use sewer, or vice?
Yes, like the other side of that, yes.
Well, the village, I want to say that we get charged for sewer, and
Right.
it's a pass along. Water is the one thing that we can control. That is something that we can control, so we can set and create opportunities to operate as a fund, so to speak. We have the opportunity to make that work in our favor versus being directed to have prices increases and pass those fees along. We have really no control over that. But those individuals that do use our water, we can control that. We can make that happen in our favor, or at least make sure that we're covering our costs there. In terms of the sewer, there's really, we are at the mercy of our service provider.
And the reason why I asked that, I was asked this recently by a resident, and I think a lot of people lose the idea, okay, you're getting 4,000 gallons a month, but they don't understand the waste side of it. You get that, but you also have to get rid of that.
Correct. Yeah.
And I know that certain companies have chemicals that are in their usage, so.
And that's one of the things that we have to also consider. Those individuals that take advantage of our systems, we have the ability to make them pay for a little bit more of the infrastructure that they're using more of. So we do have the ability to do that as well.
Last thing, and that'll be it. In your opinion, and it's just an opinion, would it benefit us now as we have over the time I've been here, to really start looking towards our water treatment plant here. It's just your opinion.
That would take a lot of, I believe we're still in the infancy of that.
I agree.
Investigating that. You're gonna have to kind of do a cost-benefit analysis on that on the long term. What do we see as a benefit? What do we see as the cost? What are the opportunities for us? What are the threats for us? What could potentially be on us to have to upkeep? What is the upkeep gonna look like? So there's a lot of different things that we would have to look at. Financially, you have to consider that as well.
My idea is, I know we're locked into a contract, it's just what is. And when that contract expires, if we're up and ready to go, obviously would have to start far before the contract ended. But in that duration, whenever that is, if in that amount of time we could keep those numbers to what we pay currently, or even lower that, I believe that would be great for the residents. That was the reason for my question.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Daryl.
You're welcome.
Daryl, if you would, can you, just on your tenure here dealing with Aqua, can you speak about the trend?
I know that since I've been here, we've had 2 increases from Aqua that have been pretty substantial. We, as a village, we've been able to kind of take it on because, the way we've structured our CCAP, we have a thing called capital and maintenance, which kind of took a blow of the last increase that they passed. I think that as long as we are able to pass along those costs, and I think we can stay even with them, but at the same time, we also have to make sure that we're holding them accountable for what we're being billed. I think that sometimes some things get out of whack, and our DPW department does a great job of kind of checking and making sure that, okay, this doesn't look right. So we'll go back and take a look at it, and a lot of and sometimes we found some errors in which were passed along to us. And I think as long as we can kind of duplicate what they're billing us, and we can do a check and balance, I think that kind of works. As far as them dictating to us, I know that I hear that a lot about we don't control our future. That's a tough one, because no matter which direction you go in, there's going to be cost associated with it, and then there's upkeep, there's maintenance. So we have to think about it both sides. What is it going to look like? What would those things look like? So that's that.
Thank you, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
In those 2 increases that you've been aware of, this last one was what, like 43%, was
I
it?
believe 44%.
44. Do you know what the previous one was?
I want, it was about 67%.
About 67.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking at quite an increase, and they just keep doing it, so.
And we have no sale.
That's right. They're the only game in town, so they get to monopolize that, so. Just so that the residents know that we're kind of playing with against the stacked deck at times.
That is true.
Any other questions? Daryl, thank you.
Daryl, thank you.
You're very welcome.
You did a great job
Thank you.
on a tightrope there. I appreciate it. So just for, so the public is aware and understands, because I know this can be a little bit confusing, the village owns the infrastructure. We own our water and our sewer system. So all of that infrastructure is village-owned, for the exception along Monee Manhattan Road. Aqua has their area there covered, but the remainder of the village throughout is all village-owned. which puts us in a better position than many communities that are in contract with Aqua. So, so with the water system, we can control the rates, which we do, and we among communities in this geographic area, we're one of the lower communities of our prices for the village and its residents. I know there's financial struggles everywhere, but if you're rating the prices, we're in the lower third. So that is one plus. As far as the sanitary, so we're in a contract with Aqua. We send our sanitary, our refuse to Aqua through our system. So we have no control of that cost to filter our system. And so that is what was raised, the 44%. And so we're not raising the water. We lowered the water, just so everyone is clear with that. And like we mentioned before, this is the first step. We have a plan to be very proactive to come. We're going to have to look at this billing, where we're at afterwards. But we've got some ideas of what we want to do. So with that, I'm going to ask for a board action, a motion to approve the proposed water rate reduction plan as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
Like you said, great first step, and
Right.
we got some more work to do, but we'll get there.
I know we've been working at this for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I came in 3 years ago asking about it, so I know it's been a minute. But just to piggyback off of your sanitation part there, if you look at the bill, if you look at the water bill, that's your biggest part of that whole thing is the sewage and the sanitation. I mean, the garbage and the water is not that significant compared to what Aqua wants to charge for that. So maybe in the future we can take care of that too. But I think, like Scott said, great first step. Let's do this.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next board action is a motion to approve the proposed 10% water rate discount for those residents 65 years or older.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes,
Trustee Wilson?
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, board. And the last board action is a motion to approve the village attorney to draft a village ordinance with the new water and sanitary rates.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you, board. End of my report.
Thank you. Moving on to the officials' reports. Public Works, Trustee Horn.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple items of interest. Utility Dynamics continues to put the finishing touches on our Egyptian Trail lighting project. All but 3 poles have been erected. Final wiring is underway and should be completed by the end of this week. The final 3 poles will be utilizing the existing foundations, which will save us money, but that takes a bit more time as modifications to the foundations are required. Estimated time for final completion is mid-March. Now, we've had some slow-moving weather systems around town, specifically the week of February 12th through the 15th. DPW staff worked through the evening rush on Wednesday, the 12th, and then reported again at 3 a.m. on the 13th, and then another system on Friday, the 14th. They worked from 8 p.m. to midnight and returned 7 a.m. on Saturday, the 15th, for final cleanup. So we thank them for that, and they've done a great job. And I think we're ahead of the game compared to other villages at some point. Now, road salt, we've used most of our previous stockpile, and we've placed our order for 300 tons of road salt to replenish our supply, which should be delivered early next week, and hopefully we don't need to use it, but it's still February, so we've got some time to go. But it's good to have that online. And then, as weather permits, staff has begun the process of picking up trash from roads and right-of-way throughout Monee. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items tonight for the Parks and Rec Department. February schedule was absolutely filled. We had a senior bingo and luncheon, a Black History showcase combined with an event with the University Park District, and a soul food celebration. And coming up in March, we're going to be celebrating Women's History Month, celebrating the contributions and achievements of women in Monee. The event is free to attend and not just for Monee residents. And that'll be held March 15th from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. At Monee Elementary. And also at the Village of Monee Hockey Night at the Black Hawks is sold out. So if you didn't get your tickets yet, sorry, we're going to have to redo that one again next year. The next senior luncheon will be held on March 12th at Fireman's Park Building, feature a full corned beef luncheon. And don't forget, registration is required and the fee is $7. Also coming up this month in March is going to be something new for us, is a teen finance free seminars to be put on by Maria Abney of Edward Jones. And I don't know how long any of you, does anybody remember the reality store that they used to have at the school district? This is like the reality store on steroids. It's a teen finance program, which I think all teens should attend. And it's a kind of a 3-week series, all at 5 to 6 p.m. Monday, March 3rd from 5 to 6, it's going to be at the Fireman's Park Building, and that one will be featuring budgeting. And on the 10th from 5 to 6 is Investing Basics, and that one will be held here. From 5 to 6 p.m. and 3/17 on March 17th is going to be Perspectives, and that'll be at the Fireman's Park Building again. And that again is a free program for grades 9 through 12. And it's a fabulous program because, as we all know, that a lot of kids don't enter, adulthood without having some finance basics. And Ms. Abney has done a fabulous job in putting this together and making it understandable. And I think there's some adults that should go to that too, but that's whatever. And then there's a new program too that we've never had before, our Shamrock Search on March 10th from 6 to 7:30. That's for children, and $15 is per child. And please call the Parks and Rec number 534-8302 for registration. The Monee Chamber of Commerce is having their annual board meeting next Wednesday, March 5th at the Historical Society Building. Monee Women's Club, the next meeting is March 25th, also being held at Monee Heritage Center. And save the date for April 26th, which will be the vendor fair, and June 7th will be our second annual Mrs. First Charity Tea. End of report.
Great, thank you. Moving on to Finance, Trustee Rakis.
Thank you, Mayor. The village has begun budgeting for fiscal year 2026 with plans to approve our next budget prior to the beginning of the new fiscal year. As of today, February 26, 2025, the general fund has a revenue of $1.1 million and expenditures of $770,000. For those that may not be aware, Illinois will be eliminating its state grocery tax next year, January 1st, 2026. The state is allowing municipalities the opportunity to recoup these lost funds by creating a local ordinance. Our 3-month expense average for the general fund has dropped from $2.1 million to $1.8 million. End of report.
Thank you. Moving on to Economic Development, Trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Starbucks and Dollar Tree, if you've noticed, both buildings are starting to look like a Starbucks and Dollar Tree. So the most recent update for Starbucks is opening in June. The same with Dollar Tree, but maybe a little bit earlier. Purchase of residential properties on Monee, Manhattan, and Governor's Highway. As our Economic Development Director, Bill Barnes, has openly shared over the past several months, the village has expanded our town center area comprehensive plan to include the Monee Manhattan Road to Gale Street. which is why we have been purchasing properties in this area. Monee is being noticed by a lot of businesses and other communities for our vision and ability to move this village forward. And Bill always likes to say, if we don't move forward in life and business, we regress. So, Chicago Southland Networking Event. Yesterday, Director Barnes attended a morning networking roundtable event where industrial growth was the featured topic. In this meeting, appointed leaders from regional municipalities discussed their ideas on attracting more development. Bill suggested that with the new residential administration's America First initiatives and bringing manufacturing back to the United States, that perhaps we collectively need to be attending manufacturing trade shows to make direct connections and bring these skilled jobs into the region. As we've partnered with Wortman, and they've also partnered with GSU, and trying to keep alive the trade skills. So that's a big topic with Bill, and trying to identify businesses that are best suited for the community to also partner with each other and bring the educational or job aspect to it, not just to have the business, but also the skill set for those businesses. Maria statute update. Tomorrow, Bill, and along with Christy Holston, our marketing coordinator, Rachel Beckman, will travel south to Peoria to meet Maria and her sculptor, Sydney Ryan, in person. So we'll have a further update. Bill will bring back plenty of photos and share with everyone at our next meeting. And always, when available, shop Monee. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to Building Services, Trustee Henson.
Thank you, Mayor. On Monday, February 24th, 2025, Chief Kerner's guys got a little bit of a scare because at about 12:15 p.m., the Monee Dunkin' Donuts experienced a small kitchen fire. The dry chemical fire extinguisher was used to extinguish the fire. Due to health hazards of dry chemicals and this type of fire extinguisher, the Dunkin' Donuts was closed until an inspection with the Will County Health Department was conducted. Will County Health Department arrived about 3 p.m. and after having some additional food items destroyed and a good cleaning conducted, Dunkin' Donuts was approved to open shortly after. Dry chemical fire extinguishers can cause health issues, including skin irritation, coughing, and breathing problems. The severity of these effects depends on how long you're exposed and if you have any existing health conditions. So that's why building services needed to close it until it was cleaned up properly and approved. Also, if you guys know the house that's across from Thornton there on Monee, Manhattan at 6237 West Monee, Manhattan. It was pretty dilapidated and everything. You go by it there. It has been knocked down. It has been taken out, and there's a little bit more cleanup to do, but it's gone. End of report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Public Safety, Trustee Udris.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick things from our Emergency Management Agency. On February 18th, they assisted South Chicago Heights Police Department for a vehicle accident at 25th and Chicago Road. EMA assisted with 2 traffic units for approximately 45 minutes. And for our police department, this weekend is Polar Plunge. So we've got a crew going out there. Mayor, you part of that, I believe. So if you would like to support a great cause of Special Olympics, you can go on Facebook, and a lot of our officers that are participating have ads up there asking for anybody that would like to make a donation. I just looked at the page, and I can tell you that Monee right now is one of the leading teams with the donations that they've gathered. So let's take them to first place, and everybody even if it's just $1 or $2, every little bit helps Special Olympics, and it's such a wonderful cause. So, end of report.
Great, thank you. Moving on to the attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 items for the board's consideration. The first item is an ordinance for the issuance of a special use permit to Rockland Plumbing. The zoning board held a meeting last Wednesday. They recommended approval of this permit request. It's up for the board's review and consideration.
Motion. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have some questions for Director Barnes. This is going to be a metal building, but they are assuring us that there will be the brick and everything on the front.
Brick on the front, the bottom third, yes.
Okay, because there's been some concerns about that from people that have watched the P&Z meeting, so that's, I wanted to assure that.
Yep, and with landscaping as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
2075.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is approval of an ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 6 of the Village Code. This puts some regulations with respect to truck parking and also solar farms, if they come to play. So it's up for the board's review and consideration. I believe the zoning board also reviewed this, and they have recommended approval to the village board.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Could
Any
you,
discussion?
could you elaborate on the truck, again, on the ordinance for the truck parking? Either Bill or Lance?
Sure. Just want to show a quick photo real, since I find it, sorry. John, is that in here? Did you put the photos in here? Ah, thank you. Open. So everyone's familiar with this location right on Manhattan Monee Road, that this is something we want to get away from with, as Trustee Wilson said, with us purchasing land on Manhattan Monee Road for future development for retail, with Starbucks and Dollar Tree. Again, it's prime retail space. This is something that we want to avoid, and if it's there, we at least want it to look good. So that would be, the detail is basically it has to be bermed 3 feet, and then with a 6-foot high privacy fence all the way around the perimeter, plus 2 rows of coniferous trees or pine trees, 2 rows in addition to, so it'll be screened.
And would you care to elaborate on why we approved that quite a while ago, and all of a sudden they're not doing it? They're not going to be putting the...
Sure. Well, I think this was done before my time, but there were 2, the developer, I think TA Petro, came to us and said they were going to put a 4-bay repair garage there. This was over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was put on hold, then it was put on hold, and then it was dropped completely. So because of that, it's just sitting here. So we have to do something with it. I mean, with the money that the village is spending in enhancing the village and the gateway, it just doesn't really fit in.
But
this type of
basically,
thing. And
that's
it's
not
just
going to be
this.
there. They're not doing it. They don't have the funding for it. Is that what
Correct.
they
They
was?
just dropped it altogether. Right. So it's just what you see is what it is.
Okay.
And this, if it's approved, is not just for future truck parking. That's existing as well.
So with the passage of this ordinance, then we can go back to them and say, now you got to put up a berm and
Correct.
coniferous trees
Right. And the fence.
and the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Have they been notified of that at this point?
I did talk to them several months ago about doing something with it. And their response was, well, that's really expensive and we don't have the money.
Now, we also have a possibility of a truck parking out in, out Monee, Manhattan, out there by, was it Amazon or we?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Will
it's
that?
been in discussion, but
Would
that
that
would be the same.
extend out there that they have to have the same?
It would be the same thing, yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Right, it would be consistent, and we've talked to people that are purchasing properties along Sunset.
Yeah.
That our buildings are already there, and so we said there has to be trees, there have to be fencing, so, and they're all, you know, saying, yeah, we absolutely want to make it look better than what it is. So they're all in agreement. I think this will be the bigger one.
And since this is an ordinance change or what have you, building services, Lance, is good with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
2076.
Thank you. Do you want to continue with unfinished?
Yes. Under unfinished business, mostly updates with respect to the later properties request for additional TIF money. We're going to have some discussions with Mr. Leader, myself, Ruben, and Daryl, probably within the next 7 to 10 days. So there's no action taken at all. We got some work to do there. With respect to number 2, just an update, the Village Town Center bid award. We have not received any further correspondence from this entity. We expect to receive some type of correspondence, hopefully within the next 7 to 10 days. And I'll update the board accordingly. Number 3, Quality Inn and Super 8 redevelopment agreement, TIF assistance. I believe they were here last board meeting asking for TIF assistance. Once again, we've reached out to them. We will have a meeting with them to go over their TIF request and a possible redevelopment agreement for the board's review pertaining to her invoices. Number 4, Vortman Steel. If the board recalls, the gentleman came in last board meeting. Very good company. They, once again, are looking for TIF assistance. We have a meeting set up Thursday, I believe, early in the morning to talk to them about what we would expect from them and what we could offer and what their requests are. So at the next board meeting, we might have at least a sample redevelopment agreement. No commitments at all yet as to what we can offer, but we will see what they're going to ask us first. And number 5, we need a motion to solidify the consensus to change the name of the old Village Hall to Park and Recreation Administrative Building.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on that at all? Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Awesome.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Any new business?
If I may, before we go further, I'd like to mention under my report, we did have the Committee of the Whole meeting posted on the YouTube page for the community, which was awesome. But we have to make sure that the rest of them have been posted, because once you have a manned website, you cannot just pick and choose which one you want to post. They have to all be posted as part of the Open Meetings Act. So we have to post all of the Committee of the Whole meetings.
All right. Moving on to open to the public, non-agenda items.
Hi, my name is Linda Marshall. How often is the Committee of the Whole, are their meetings held? Just on a PR? There's no set schedule for them? And they will continue to be posted in the future? Yes. Okay, that's part 1. Part 2. I asked this question for a reason. Has anybody in this administration received in writing the reason for Monee losing the privilege of early voting? Anybody? Many reputable people have stated they have called the Board of Elections in Will County. They've even gone there and asked, and they were verbally told. But I've always been told that if it's not in writing, that it's just hearsay. The only reason I bring this up is because I was here on the day of the close of early voting. And people are now comparing Monee to Dalton over all the squabbling and stuff. Put it to rest. Monee is a great town, and all this divisiveness over losing an early voting site is tearing the town apart. That is just my opinion. I speak for myself. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your opinion.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anybody else?
Since I'm from out of town, I thought I'd be last. My name is Mark Sheldon. I'm with Pavlov Media. We're a high-speed fiber internet company based out of Champaign, Illinois. Had a great meeting. Administrator Bautista put together the mayor and others on a Zoom meeting, and I told them a couple weeks ago I'd be up here to meet all of you. We're a company that's been in business for 30 years. Our primary business for the first 20 years was doing internet to off-campus student housing all across America. We're in 150 cities, 1,000 different buildings, but in the last 10 years we've started to do fiber to the home in a number of communities. So we started out in Monticello, Mahomet, Tolono, number of towns, and we've been working our way up north. And so right now we are actually constructing, today our crews were active in Bradley, Bourbonnais, Manteno, and Piatone, and we are now putting together our plans. I just got a note from our design person for the plans for Monee, so we anticipate that next week we will be submitting to your public works people a plan to put fiber down every street in Monee so you can get high-speed gigabit, well, actually multi-gig, up to 8 gigabits of service throughout the community. So we're excited. We even just being here in the meeting, it was great to just hear about the great things that are happening. Traveling around this town over the course of the last few months, I've made a number of visits, and I can tell this is a town with a great future, and we're thrilled to be part of that. We believe that for both residents and for businesses, having a fiber infrastructure for internet is critical for the future. It's future-proof. Everything we do, we talk about 8 gigs, and quite frankly, in 10 years, when people are saying you have to have 25 gigabits, for us to do that means that we have to swap out one piece of electronics that costs $25,000 and probably put in one that costs $100,000, but then that's our future. And so it's really easy to do that in this technology. So one of the things I wanted to point, because I think for the city, all that stuff about why it's a good idea is great, but I want to point you to our construction principles, because this is so important for you as community, as people, elected officials overseeing the community and what has to happen here. We really have high safety standards and high standards for service when it comes to our construction projects. So we're going to restore everything the way it needs to be. We're going to follow safe practices. Of course, we're always calling Julie, but we are going to have your public works director's phone number. We're going to have the phone numbers for all of your, the gas and electric companies, so that anytime there is a problem, that we're going to be here, or we're going to make those direct contacts and make sure that we handle everything in the safest way possible, because accidents will happen. But then after that construction process and a neighborhood is done, we're going to come in and clean things up and make sure that it's restored to the way the residents intend it to be. So once again, we're very excited. I anticipate that next week we'll get the design in so that people can take a look. One of the things we do, we put together our construction people. Sometimes I come to these meetings, but whoever needs to be in there in a pre-construction type of meeting, because while we've got a design in mind, people in town, and especially in your public works department, may say, hey, it'd really be better if you went down that street, or if you went on that side of the street. So we want to be in definitely a collaborative relationship with your folks as we move forward on this. think, I won't say the one final thing, but I will say, actually on Monday, it's Monday, right? Mantino, they'll be voting on a proposal. We're actually taking, a number of you have probably been down, the police station there as you're coming off the interstate. So on the far east side of that lot, there's actually a cabinet for AT&T, I think it is, and we're going to have a cabinet right next to that. And so we're going to give them free internet to their city building in exchange for them giving us space there. So definitely throw that out there. So the entirety of our network will be underground. There's be a vault, between every home, like on the utility right of way. We're a telephone company that operates there, but it's all underground. You'll be able to ride a lawnmower over it without any problem. They're very unobtrusive. The only thing that's above ground is a cabinet that holds the electronics. They can't get wet, they can't be submerged. And we look for a spot for that. Sometimes we put it on private property, but in a number of communities, we've actually worked out arrangements where we put it on public land in exchange for some free internet service. So we'd definitely be open for doing something like that. And we had a great conversation. Some of the things, trying to establish a local area network between your buildings. Talked about a little bit, it came up about potentially Wi-Fi in the parks, but we can provide internet to a park, but we don't really do the router, the wireless router that would provide free, the free service or whatever. But we're going to grow with your community as well. I understand there's a new building, I think it came up tonight, that's going to be built, and we'll be right there in front of that building, providing multi-gig service. I know also that came up, I thought it was really interesting. We've got a new software package, and one of the things about fiber compared to like a cable service is it's what we call symmetric gig. So the download speed, you often hear about download speeds, and you didn't really hear much about upload speeds. Then when COVID came, we started to stream out of our home and Zoom meetings and trying to do that, then people started to realize the importance of upload speeds. And they become increasingly important because we have AI, and of course our appliances are talking to the internet, and our security cameras are talking to the internet, and that's going up from your home into the cloud, so to speak. And this is one of the things that's going on with some of the software you have. So some of the software that the communities are implementing now, it's doing a lot of talking. It's not just pulling things out, it's pushing things up. And this internet will make that incredibly good.
We
that's
do
my
have-
presentation.
Yeah, we do have probably a couple of questions for you.
Yeah,
on that
okay,
one.
that'd be great if people want, if that's fine. I'm all ears.
So the first question that I have is, what companies will have access to this for internet? Or is it strictly to get the fiber optic, we have to go through your company?
Yeah, so
Is it going to be available through AT&T, Xfinity?
Nope, we're just like Xfinity. We're in competition with Xfinity.
Okay.
So
Good to have competition in town.
yes, we love competition as well. So.
And my second question for you is there any cost to the village for putting this fiber optic in?
There's no direct cost.
Okay.
You own your own water, you own your own sewer. That means that we're going to go into a neighborhood, we're going to call in Julie tickets, and your folks are going to come out. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh yeah, you guys will just, some people are going to have some extra work during this project. So that's your cost, is those people doing that work.
Okay, thank you.
So I have I won't say the last questions though. So
Mhm.
you talked about the upload speeds and the download speeds and
yeah.
everything. So the other thing I will ask you about is net neutrality.
Okay.
Because those of us who live and work from home
Uh-huh.
now, we are definitely seeing that was promised to us, or to 22, it should have been promised to us. But I can tell you, those of us who work from home, in about 12:30, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, it's impossible to work because, the bigger users here in town are getting all the bandwidth.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's not really necessarily a net neutrality issue. So it could be, a carrier could say, well, we're going to give a priority. For example, on your electricity, an Amazon warehouse may pay to get more reliability on their power from ComEd, and a brownout or a blackout, they're not going to get affected. So whenever you have limits on, or you're feeling bogged down, a lot of times that'll just be because the infrastructure is not up to speed. So we don't do any throttling. So you're going to have that gigabit or multi-gig, whatever you're asking for, you're going to have that. We're not going to have what's called oversubscriber rates. So we know that when you're getting 8 gigabits per second, let's just say you were to do that, you're not getting 8 gigabits per second every second of your time, right? That would be downloading a Netflix movie in 1 second and then watching it on your TV. So we don't ever throttle anybody's internet on our side. So that's and then the secondary question there, and they are related, is that we need to make sure that and we do this all the time. I invite anybody to come and see our network operations center, but we track our bandwidth. Yeah, it's in Champaign, right off the interstate. So there you'll see our traffic. Of course, I told you we do off-campus student housing, so we have over 340,000 students that are on our network. So so when you said 1 and 2 o'clock, that's like when we peak in some of our places, 1 or 2 in the morning. But you'll see, where, and so we're monitoring all the time. So if we let's say we bring 10 gigabits of service into Monee to serve you through and we start seeing that hitting 6, 7, and 8 gigabits, like a lot, then we're going to start looking at maybe we need to go at 20. So that's how we manage that. But once again, we're able to do that because we control, it's dark fiber that we control.
So it's fiber optic?
Yes.
Fiber optic, not satellite?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes.
So then my question, we talked about our own infrastructure and everything, so this is the girl talking. So we watched Xfinity put 2.5 miles of fiber optic cable right down Court Street here. And that was supposed to be our future kind of thing. So that fiber optic cable, or triple redundant fiber optic cable that's laying down right in front of Village Hall, the Parks and Recreation Administration Building, right now. And then, so if me and my next door neighbor want new fiber optics, then, somebody across town, or we get subscribers, so you get maybe 400 subscribers. So you're gonna, from the street, dig, in our yards, put it underground.
Yeah, so
and we'll have a little box, like a Buffalo box, but for our fiber optics.
So it's level with the ground. So we are going to go down every street. So you're going to have, we're a telephone company, so we operate in the public utility right-of-way. So we're in that right-of-way, the gas and the electric and all those things are running down. And then on the lot line in that public utility right-of-way, we're going to have that box. And if you subscribe, so in that vault, this is going to be about 14 inches like this. In that vault is going to be a thing, right? Kind of a junction box, we'll call it. And they're going to be able to plug a fiber cable that will go into there, and then it'll run to the house that's the new subscriber. So that'll only happen when they decide to be a subscriber. The cable will be on every street, so we'll be able to hook you up in days. And then that will be buried, just like they use a long blade, and they actually bury that about that far into the ground. And we'll do a locate. We'll call Julie and make sure that there's no power lines. We'll ask you about whether or not you have... Oh, it's just a slit. Yeah, you would never even notice it. Yeah, actually, it buries without, yeah.
So we have both our IT superpower and our DPW superpower back there. You guys good?
You guys will relocate in the future for any municipal projects?
Yep. Yeah, so he's asking about, roads are going to widen, somebody's going to put in new sewer lines somewhere, have to do repairs, and they'll call in Julie tickets and say, here's what's going to happen. We're doing one, in Corinth, Texas, and have a major move in Corinth, Texas. It's happening in the next week, as an example, and that's just part of the business for sure.
So if a resident, excuse me, if a resident wants your service and everything, you guys come to the house and have your equipment and have different hookups? Or?
Yeah, it's not really much equipment, actually. So, I mean, they're just, they'll come in, they're techs, they're going to put a little box on the outside of the house.
Understood.
They're going to drill a hole through, they're going to put a box inside the house. It's got a wireless router that comes with it. Covers a 1,500 or 1,600 square foot home. Sometimes they do an extender on a larger home, and yeah. So they're technicians. They'll make sure the lights are working and that the power, everything is working.
Since that's new equipment, new hookup, new installation, and everything like that is.
We do free installation. All of our installation is free. So, yep.
That's what I
no
needed
cost.
to hear.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. Yes.
And then, Mark, just for clarification, because I know we had discussed it, but just so the public hears, this is currently going to be for east side of 57, not yet for the west side.
Right. So we're going to start on the east side. We talked about potentially getting doing some joint work with the city as you guys get underneath the interstate. And if that doesn't happen timely enough, because things happen, we definitely want to get on the other side as well.
And I have one thing to add, Mark. I'm going to try to make it down to Champaign and check out your facility.
Okay, awesome.
I think that's really cool. And I want to say thank you for coming out and saying these things. We've had a few companies that have done that, and I love that they do, so that everyone's aware. You said safety first.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And then you said accidents happen.
Yeah, they do.
Let's shoot for no accidents happening.
We would like to, and I will tell you, where a lot of times where you can find the biggest challenge in construction in the right of way are the older the neighborhood, the more challenging. So when we go into a brand new subdivision, the gas lines were put in with what are called tracer lines, the electric lines, everything's got tracer. The sewer lines have tracer. You get into an older neighborhood, sometimes those water lines were put in there, I mean, it can be in the 40s, I mean, it can be a long time ago, and people aren't necessarily entirely sure where they're at. We know we're gonna find, we know they got water, and so we do our best, and a lot of times we'll locate things. And we know that the water's coming down the street and there's a house, there's water somewhere, and we're going to find it, hopefully. But then sometimes somebody somewhere, there was a big boulder in the ground, and instead of going straight to the house, they came around this way. There's just a lot of we're going for no accidents. And yeah.
Our guys are really good. They've replaced a lot of mains and things like that here. So I just wanted to say thank you for everything. I appreciate it, and I love the safety first mentality.
All right, fantastic.
Thank you for being so professional and having an answer for every question that we have. A lot of time people will come in and present and they'll say, well, I'd have to get back to you on that. But you have had an answer, clear and concise answer for every question.
Okay, well,
it's a pleasure, actually.
Hey, concise, I'll have to pass that on because my wife's always telling me I'm not very concise. So. All right. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
We'll be in touch. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Linda Marshall, I'm sorry, I just have one more thing. When I moved to Monee over 30 years ago, our village president was Larry Cockle, and people were complaining about water rates and sewer rates at that time. So it appears this has been going on for a long time, and I personally appreciate everything the village has done to reduce our costs, but this has been going on for at least 30 years that I know of, no matter if it was Aqua or the village or what. So it's an ongoing problem that unfortunately we don't have much control over.
And we've just taken the first step to take care of that.
Right, exactly. And I'm sure not only myself, other residents appreciate everything that's been done. But it's ironic that over 30 years ago, it was like the same discussion. Sewer rates, water rates. Think
Very long process, unfortunately.
Definitely.
Very long process,
Definitely.
yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
It's a necessity.
All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
8:10 PM.